I decided to enter the $800, make one final bullet here, and see what happens. If I make it to day 2, then I guess I'll extend my trip a couple more days. Otherwise, well, hopefully it's not an otherwise, but then I'll be taking off tomorrow if that happens, if I get knocked out somehow. Hopefully that doesn't happen and I make it deep in this one. That'd be nice. But I had really no interesting hands besides the fact that I had a hand where I woke up with aces. I donked off like half my stack. I don't know, I see bet a lot and I just got, I ran one bad bluff against the lady. The straight came in on the turn and I checked, and then the river was like nothing, and I bet, and that's a bad spot to bluff because she thinks that if I have a straight I'm going to bet the turn, not wait till the river, so she snapped me off on the bluff, and before you know it, my 40,000 was down to 20. Now all of a sudden, geez, it gets loud. Now all of a sudden I wake up with aces, and gets raised, I squeeze, get a couple callers. Flop comes Jack, Jack 4, rainbow. I see bet, and older guy who I saw try to run a bluff earlier against the guy blind versus blind raised me pretty big, and I'm like, okay. So the turn was like an 8, brought in like a backdoor flush draw. I check. He bets big, like close to pot, and I'm like, you know what, I just don't buy it. If he has a jack, I guess I'm out. Maybe I'll rebuy. I don't know, but I just feel like this guy wouldn't raise and then play it like trip jack so strong because he'd want to get money, right? So he bet 10,000. I shifted all in and he insta-folded. So obviously he didn't have a jack. So that was a big one for me because that brought me back up to starting stack. That was like almost a double up. So I went from 20 back up to 40, and now I'm about average stack. I mean, I'm at the starting stack like 40, a little over 40,000 in chips. So doing fine. That's about all that happened in that beginning. So I'm going to run over and grab my headphones because there's this European Euro dude that is fucking weird as hell. And he's got his headphones on and I wanted to video it. He's singing really loud, like, and he's whistling and stuff. I'm like, dude, you realize there's other people at the table, right? And I hinted it, I kind of said that to him a couple times. He didn't care. Like, he's in his own little world and doesn't care that he's annoying the fuck out of everybody. They told me I was in the wrong seat and I moved over one. Dealer didn't say that to me at first. I'm like, that helps a little because I didn't like being right next to the guy. But I'm gonna get my headphones just because that gets annoying real quick. So he's in his own little world, whistling and humming really loudly. And do you realize? I guess he doesn't care that there's other people around him. Just a real weirdo. So anyway, I'm gonna get my headphones and we'll go back at it. Oh, by the way, I don't know if y'all heard, but probably you have. I'm at the Horseshoe right across from the Bellagio. Right in front of the Bellagio last night, they had a shooting where some guy was picking on a guy on social media and just like was relentless about it for a year. And you know, careful what you and he's like, oh yeah, this guy's got mental problems, blah blah blah. Maybe apparently he did because and he kept picking on him. Well, ain't too smart, dude, because that's what happened. The guy that was picking, he got shot and killed right in front of the Bellagio. The guy had enough and just came out and fucking shot him multiple times. Him and I guess apparently his wife that he was with. So yeah, there you go, mouthing up too much on social media. Do you believe that? I mean, crazy. So that just happened right in front of me, right by my place. So 10 o'clock at night last night. Probably a good thing I was not around outside. I went to bed early because I probably wouldn't have wanted to be around during that. By the way, guys, these videos will be edited so that it's more brief and not as long, and I'll actually show the hands. I don't have an editor like Daniel Negreanu. You know, I don't make money at this yet. Maybe someday I will. So at this point, I'm just putting everything together and then uploading it daily. But I will make these a little more easier probably to watch, edited. So I'm sure they probably drag on. The last one I think it was over 2 days and it's 40 minutes long, which is really long. So stay tuned for that. These getting redone and edited shorter.
Say roller coaster. I have three interesting hands. First was I raised in early position with pocket aces. Two black aces. Got a call in the on the button, and then a call on the small blind. Everyone else folded. A little better. The flop came out like 8-4-3 with two hearts. The guy donks into me for like less than half pot, and I'm like, this is just screaming of, you know, he's on a flush draw or something like that. For some reason, I decided to play it tricky. I felt like I should raise there. I mean, I should have raised there, but I ended up just being tricky for some reason. Open heart doesn't come, and then I can do whatever on the turn. So I just called being tricky, and then the guy on the button raised big. It was like 3,000 call, and he raised it like 11, 12,000. The other guy folded, and then I decided to just open, just flat out fold my aces. Didn't have the ace of hearts. I don't know. I just gave him a lot of credit. Maybe he has a set or something. The other guy has hearts, so it's hard to put him on hearts. I mean, they both could have hearts, or maybe he's just making a play because I flatted and he dunked into me. But I wish I had just raised. And then if I get re-raised, I can fold. Know where I'm at better. I can charge the flush draw. I don't like how I played that. I should have raised the flop. Number two is new guy sat down at the table. I made it 2,200, blinds 500, 1,000. The next guy came in, he made it 5,200, like a 3-bet, but not a very big 3-bet. Gets back around to me, I call. I have the ace of clubs, the jack spades. Flop comes jack 10-5 with two clubs, and I check to him, and he just ships it all in. And I'm like, you could have ace king, but I have the ace of clubs, which is important to know. So he can't have like ace 10 of clubs, ace king of clubs, ace queen of clubs, which is something he would do that with, because I have the ace of clubs. So I just folded my top, and I think it was a good fold. And the big thing is I have the ace of clubs in my hand. So, you know, some people just do that to protect their hand. They just shove with, with a overpair. So just folding. So those are two hands I folded, top and aces. The aces one, I don't like how I played. I could have had the best hand easily. The ace jack, I'm pretty happy with my fold. I'm pretty confident I made a good fold there. Next hand was, well, really the hand that doubled me up. I was down to like 35,000 in chips. I had like 55, 60, and went down to 35, and 35 bigs at this point. And came around, and the guy in late position raised to 2,000. Okay. The next guy jammed for 10,100. I have 35,000. I look down in the small blind with pocket eights. I think the guy can be rejamming. Eights is ahead of his range, and even if I'm wrong, I lose. You know, I'm still not out of it. I still got 25,000 behind, and the initial opener, since he's in late position, you know, it's going to be hard for him to call most of his hands, and I'm just basically trying to isolate with the guy that went in for 10. So I jammed with pocket eights, and the initial opener snap called. I'm like, oh shit. And he turns out he had ace king. The guy who regen had pocket sixes, I had pocket eights, so I was ahead going into it. And thankfully, happily, I ended up holding the whole way. So that was a big hand for me. That brought me from 35 up to 80. So now I'm at 80 big blinds instead of 35 big blinds, which is much better. So that was a big hand right before break that really helped bring my stack up to much better level. So that's it. Third break here. You got a 30-minute break instead of 20. It's kind of for some reason. But one really weird. You talk about the butterfly effect and something weird happening. Basically, the cards got pitched around. It's kind of an interesting story. The cards got pitched around, and the dealer accidentally pitched an extra card, I believe, to the button, but it went between the button and the cutoff, like it was, or the button in the first act. It was kind of weird, like nobody knew what the right, no one was paying attention, and then it was like fold, and then we noticed it, and we're like, wait a minute, someone's got a third card here, and I assumed it was a misdeal. And then when the Asian guy saw it, like at the same time, he raised. And so I thought it was a misdeal. Another person thought it was a misdeal, but other people at And the table thought, no, there's too much action with 2 folds. And so everyone's arguing. I'm like, guys, let's just call the floor, you know, like call the floor, let them decide, because everyone's arguing over it. The dealer was inexperienced, you could tell, so he didn't know what to do. So anyway, what they decided for some weird reason is that extra card, they said the floor said there's too much action, so that extra card ended up going into the muck, but it got shuffled in. And so you'd think no one saw that card, so it would just be the burn card, right? But I'm not even sure it was the right card, but you'd think it'd be the burn card. Anyway, so it got shuffled into the deck, and the guy on the button then called the resume play. The guy in the small blind jammed, got around back to the button, and the button was like frustrated. We don't know what's going on. The original razor folded. The button's like, I don't know what's going on. He's like, fuck it. He just got frustrated, and he called with Queen 9. And I'm sure the only reason he called is because he was just frustrated. I don't know, he got frustrated easily with the whole situation. So they did a reshuffle. They stuck that burn card in there. They did a whole reshuffle. And the flop come, and the guy who jammed had pocket 10s. You know, definitely way ahead of the Queen 9. Flop comes 9-9 deuce deuce. The board comes 9-9. And the guy wins with 9s full over versus the pair of 10s. And I even said to the guy, I said, you wouldn't have called if that horse shit wasn't all going on, would you have? He's like, no, I wouldn't have. I just got frustrated. I said, that's what it looked like. And then the silly thing is, the crazy thing is if that deck wasn't, I mean, you'd think that extra card would be the burn card, but because no one saw it. But because they shuffled it in, it changed the order of the deck, so the flop came out totally different than what it would have been. So it's just like really weird scenarios that ended up working out for this guy. Just crazy. On the other hand, where I got some chips, I'm up to 130,000, and I got the chips mostly. I got like 60,000 or something from a guy who's apparently he's a good player. He did something really weird. He checked raised the flop on a draw heavy board. So it was like Queen 7 deuce, 2 hearts. And I flopped a gutter in the backdoor flush draw. Got checked to me, and I just stabbed at it. And the guy checked raised big. As the pre-flop raiser, you would think, well, if he had a flush draw, wouldn't he just bet it? Or maybe he got a read on me or something. It was just weird. Like, why would you check raise if you had a set or something when you bet on a draw heavy board against multiple people? Like, I've never seen that before. It was just weird. Obviously, I just folded, but it was weird. Same guy later on. I raised in early position with ace-6 of spades, and I flopped Queen 8, 5, all spades, so I flopped the nuts. And basically, I bet, and he called. The turn was like nothing, and he bet again small. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to be tricky and hope another spade doesn't come. I called. And then the river was like nothing in offsuit 5. And he bet again pretty small. And I raised him big. And he snap called me. And he had flopped 2 pair. And that was a big double up I had. Funny, when he snap called me, maybe I could have raised more. But yeah, the way I played it was kind of tricky. So it's hard to put me on enough flush there. Or a flop flush, honestly. But that was a good one for me. That got me up in chips. So that's it for break 3. And I'll talk about, I'll call it the butterfly effect hand. That was weird. Is because it was so confusing, the dealer said, no, I'll just use this as a burn and put it on the flop. And then there was still some arguments. I called the floor over. So the floor came over, and the floor is the one that decided to shuffle the deck with the other card, and the floor itself shuffled because the dealer didn't understand what he was supposed to do. And then it's just kind of like, if I hadn't called the floor over, the deck wouldn't have gotten reshuffled, and it would have been a different flop. So the guy might not have won. Just crazy. Just kind of a weird, like multiple things just kind of happened weird that. And it ended up working out for the guy that was behind. It's funny. I don't think I've ever seen anything like crazy like that where multiple weird things happened where it ended up with the guy with the worst hand ended up winning because of it. It's just weird, crazy. Anyway, that was it. Dude, every time I go to Subway, I say just a little bit of mayonnaise. And I even said to this guy, I said just a little bit. I said one little strip. That's all I want. And I said that to him specifically. You know what he does? Every time I go to Subway, every time. So we're on dinner break. I'm sitting good right now, like 350,000, something like that. Yeah, I don't even know what the blinds are, but I'm sitting pretty well. Comical hand at the end, where the guy had 50,000 in chips. So what that the blinds? Oh, 50,000. It's like, what is it? He's jammed on the button, so he had like 9 bigs. And then the guy next act in the small blind, he's like tanking. I'm like, I should call. You're thinking. And I'm in the big blind with pocket queens. I'm like, if he calls, I mean, if he jams, I got a decision because he had me covered. But if he calls, then of course I'm jamming because I don't expect him to call it. Kings or aces. So anyway, he folds a6 off, and of course I call then with pocket queens, and the guy jammed with king deuce off. The flop come king something something with 2 clubs, and I had queens with the queen of clubs, and then the turn was another club. I said, one club please, a bink was another club. It was hilarious. Everyone was like, oh. So I just ended up hitting the runner at the flush. Of course I was way ahead when the money went in. So anyway, that was just kind of funny. Geez, the only other hand I can really think of right now is I had Queen 10 of spades I opened and a couple callers, and the flop was Jack 8 deuce with 1 spade, like a deuce of spades. And I thought, looking at it, my eyes are bad, I don't have my contacts in, but I thought it was 2 spades. So I'm like, of course, an over and a flush, straight flusher, I'm going to bet that. And then after I bet and I got a caller, I'm like, oh crap, it was a club and a spade, not 2 spades. So I'm like, okay, we'll see what happens. The most perfect turn card came, which is a 9 of spades, which gives me the straight and the backdoor flush draw. And then he checks to me, young Asian kid, and I'm thinking, I bet only 11,000 on the flop, which is only, maybe half pot size bet. So this time, I purposely bet really small to hopefully induce him to spaz out, which is a good move to have in your arsenal. And so I bet only 15,000, which is way less than a quarter of the pot. And he ends up biting, and he raises it to 45,000. Now I ended up jamming, which I shouldn't have, and he didn't even have that much behind. He had another like 20,000 behind. So he must have just been making a play when he saw my bet sizing, which I was hoping he would do. But if he has any equity at all, he's got a call there, I would think. But he folded. So in hindsight, I kind of wish I had clicked it back, just a min click, or maybe just call. Although I don't like just calling, even though I had the queen high flush draw backdoor, which is likely good if I hit. But I learned in tournaments a lot of times you just don't want to give away free cards. I've gotten burned on this so many times in tournaments, giving away free cards. I mean, if he has a set, he's calling. I'm ahead of a set. I don't know. I just like to charge. It's best to just charge, or if it comes down to it, even if it's just protecting your hand, which normally, especially in cash games, I'm not a big fan of. But in tournaments, a lot of times it's good to just take it down. Because it's just good to take it down and collect those chips in a tournament. So that's it. We're going on dinner break. I got to run over to CVS. I'd like to go just lay down, but I've got to put money in my account because it looks like I might extend my stay here. And that being the case, I need to get more money in my account. So that's it. And a dinner. Beginning of dinner break. And I think I don't even care, we're a few hundred away from the money, but not thinking about that right now. Hoping to make another deep run like I did in the 600, maybe even better. That'd be amazing. But, hoping to just make a deep run in this, another deep run, and who knows. I'm sitting good so far. So that's it. Hand for hand. Till the money bubble to burst, then we can get going and playing again. Hey, we're in the money. I have about 550,000 in chips around there. I don't know how many big blinds that is, but I'm sitting fine. So I guess there's really nothing to talk about. I don't think anything of any real interesting hands. So I'm running forward. say one thing with the when I moved to the new table, I seem to have a good image, it's a pretty tight image, which is what I like, because you can run more bluffs if you have a tighter image. And I've been waking up with some hands initially, you know, so that definitely helps to that image. So you definitely bluff more if you got that image going on and stuff. So I did have a guy raising the cutoff. He's a real loudmouth, so you think he's real active, but he's not really that. He plays pretty straightforward. As crazy as he sounds. So he raises in the cutoff to 22,000. I make it 60,000. With ace 10 of clubs, he calls. Flop came all low cards. Check, check. Turns a king. He checked. I figured it's a good card to rep, so I bet. He folded. I did have one hand where he raised under the gun, and I was under the gun +1. I had pocket jacks. So he raised, again, I raised to 60. Again, the blinds are like 5 and 10,000. And he 4-bet me to 200. And he had like another 100, 200 behind or something. And I folded my jacks. And he told me later he had aces, I believe him. So, because that looks so strong. Me raising an under the gun raise, and he 4-bets me. That's a fold there with jacks. And pretty sure I made the right lay down there for sure. So. And if he has ace king, so be it. I mean, I'm not gonna, you know, put it in just to find out he has a higher pair, and I'm in big trouble for the number of big ones I have. That'd be dumb, honestly. So that was it. Those are 2 hands I can think of here. Double up one guy. I raised in late position with 7 of hearts, 8 of hearts, and it came around to an Asian guy who was really short. I made it 25,000, and ones are 6 and 12. And he went ahead and jammed for 75, and I'm actually getting like 3 to 1 on my money there. And the way that he shoved, he was like, I don't know if I want to shove, because a couple of times that I've called people when I've raised, I've had like 9s and ace king and stuff. So, you know, he's sitting there, he wasn't sure and debating. So he shoves, I went 3 to 1. I called with, I know 7-8's not good, but he just looked like he wasn't that strong. He wasn't sure he wanted to shove, and so he had king jack. So, I mean, I'm getting the right odds there to call. Granted, it is a tournament, but I mean, I'm getting a good price and 2 live cards. I was hoping I figured I had 2 live cards the way he had shoved like that, the way he shoved, how he was acting. So yeah, so I lost that one. I doubled him up. Didn't love doing that. Lost 100,000 in that hand. But that was really the only hand I can remember losing. I won a lot of hands, which is good. I mean, I lost a jack's hand, but won some other hands, obviously, that I can't think of. But I think I won a flip against 9s. I think I had 9s. He had like 2 overs. We were racing, and I won the race or something. It was again real shorty. So that's it. That's all I can think of. Okay. Big hand. Shoving a full. Very last hand of the tournament. Ace, king, aces. Wow.
Oh. My 4.
Okay.
I had 10-6 of diamonds.
King. 3. 3
for push. 3 for push.
Guys, looks like we're extending the trip. Have to change my flight again. We made day 2, and it looks like we're going to be at 720,000 in chips. So we have about 22, 23 bigs, which is plenty. I mean, and I think the whole tournament when I did good in that 600, I hovered between 20 and 40 bigs like pretty much the whole tournament. So definitely enough bigs to come back and see if we can make a good run tomorrow. So boy, at the end there with only 7 hands to go, they announced 6 hands to go. We had raised under the gun with kings, and everyone folded. Okay, very next hand, second hand or third hand. No, very next hand actually. I was under the gun. I pocket 10s, so I raised, and this guy shoved, and I raised to like 30,000. He shoved for 400,000 actually. I was like, oh, you know, I'm folding. I just folded my 10s, and it was tough because he's been shoving light. However, he knows the very hand before I opened with kings, and there's only a couple hands left, so he knows I got to have a decent hand, so he's doing it with better than ace four this time, right? So I ended up folding, and he showed me pocket queens. It was a good fold. And then the very last hand, which you just saw, was this guy. I thought it was crazy to shove for that much. He had, God, probably 20 bigs. I mean, which is a lot in this tournament. Maybe 30 bigs. I mean, he had 500,000-600,000 in chips. Yeah, like 20 bigs. And he shoved, and I think that's way too much. I mean, you can raise and then fold, because he did that in the hand before with pocket tens, and everyone folded. And I'm like, dude, that's going to work out great till someone wakes up with kings, queens, or aces or something. So, you know, especially kings or aces. So I thought that was too light to shove for that many chips. And the very next hand, he did it again. He did it like 3 hands in a row. Of course, he had queens, then he had tens. And then this time he did it again. But he woke up, the guy woke up with aces behind him who had him covered. So the guy who had him covered is probably a fucking chip leader. Because they both had like, they both had close to 700,000 in chips. So guy woke up with aces behind him. That's why I thought the ace king was just, I don't know. You'd probably have to call anyway with ace king, but I don't know. The way he was like shoving with those tens, I'm like, dude, that's way too many chips to shove with tens. My opinion. But I don't know, ace king and aces, and then the aces held. So that's it. Calling in a night. On to day 2 tomorrow.